Morning, folks. So we're all in the middle of our furlough claims in relation to the grants available under the job retention scheme for clients, and I'm sure we've all been busy for the last few days. There has been a bit of debate about a number of aspects of the scheme itself, and one of the main points that I've noticed is the whole debacle in terms of claiming employment allowance in relation to the same period as the job retention scheme is available. The main issue there is that under normal circumstances, certain employers who are eligible and can claim an employment allowance of £4,000 a year to reduce their exposure to Class 1 employers' national insurance contributions. Now we have the job retention scheme, which has kicked in. And the job retention scheme is allowing qualified employers to claim Class 1 national insurance employers' contributions in terms of a grant coming back to the business in relation to workers who have been furloughed. So there's a bit of an anomaly here because there is a grant available for the Class 1 employers and also the employment allowance. And the question is it the case that you must claim the employment allowance and reduce the amount of grant that you're claiming from HMRC? Or is there another option? And the other option that most people are looking at is the deferment of the employment allowance. So the way I've looked at this, and I've read quite a few sort of bits and pieces in terms of other threads, communities. I've looked at the legislation in relation to the employment allowance. I've looked at the guidance in relation to the coronavirus job retention scheme, and I've come to a conclusion. Now, my conclusion may not prove to be the right conclusion. Other people may disagree with it. They may have their own views, and that's fine. The main point I think about all of this is that we really shouldn't be in this position. The guidance as it stands at this point in time is not clear enough, and accountants are being left now in a position where they have to make a judgment call, and that's not really what legislation should be doing. It shouldn't be putting us in this position, but we're having to make a call on it. We're having to make a call based on what we feel is the right thing to do based on the available guidance, which is very muddy. What is the right thing to do for your client in terms of giving them a proper full service, and also what is your moral and sort of ethical obligations in all of this. And I have my own sort of views now as well, which people may share, or people may have other views on it, but I just thought I would share as promised today where I'm at in my own decision making on this. The place where I started to make my decision was based on what the guidance under the coronavirus job retention scheme does say. And in terms of the guidance, I think it's section 7 where it says that how much NIC can you claim, and the guidance is saying that you must, or you subtract, and it doesn't say must, you subtract any employment allowance used in that particular pay period. So there's no must in that, and the key word for me in that is used. It's not saying that you must use it, it's saying you must subtract what you've used. So that really is, to me, subject to interpretation, which is unfortunate, but I believe that is the case, that it is subject to interpretation. Now we flick over to what I have seen in legislation and in terms of further guidance and so on. Further guidance in relation to claiming the employment allowance, and this is nothing connected to the coronavirus job retention scheme, but in terms of claiming employment allowance under HMRC's further guidance at paragraph 7, it says that employers can claim employment allowance at any time during the tax year as long as there are going to be employer Class 1 contributions. So you can claim it at any time in the tax year. There's also an example in that particular paragraph which shows that if you start to claim on your allowance on the 30th of June, then the employment allowance will kick in for the pay period in July. So that particular example and that particular guidance would lead me to believe that the employment allowance can be claimed at any time during the tax year. That's what the guidance quite clearly says. I was really coming down to the question is, but is there any other guidance or legislation saying that you must claim the employment allowance in month one if there are employer contributions available? And I haven't seen anything like that yet. But if anybody has, please point me in the right direction. What I did look at was the National Insurance Contribution Act 2014, and under Chapter 7 to do with the employment allowance. Under Section 4, subparagraph 3, it says that you must make the deduction and must make it before any other deductions in relation to the employment allowance. So that would say that if there's any other deductions going to be made in relation to pay period or pay in that period and so on, or national insurance in that period, the employment allowance must be subtracted first, which would lead you to believe something that around the grant for coronavirus job retention scheme, that maybe you should be taking off the employment allowance. But that section of the legislation still doesn't specify a pay period. It doesn't say in month one that this must be done. It just says you must make the deduction and must make it before any other deductions. But that's not directly related to the new coronavirus job retention scheme. So again, a grey area. Under Section 4, subparagraph 4 of the same chapter in the National Insurance Contribution Act 2014, it talks about HMRC's arrangements, and at point A it says that HMRC may require deductions at the earliest opportunity in the tax year. Not must, may. So if it doesn't say must and it says may, and if their further guidance says you can claim it at any point in time in the tax year, then surely deferment of the employment allowance is not an unreasonable conclusion to come to under the current circumstances. And that's how I've arrived at my conclusion that you can defer the employment allowance and claim it at any point in time in the tax year. And I'll be drawing out just a bit of a flowchart really for ourselves to support this. In the instance that HMRC ever look at a client of ours in the future and want to argue about our treatment of the employment allowance, I mean, my main defence is their legislation and their guidance does not give definitive answers. And as of this morning of the 22nd, when we're actually trying to submit our client's first claim so that they can get funds, we have to come to a conclusion, and that's the conclusion I've come to. Now, in relation to, I suppose, the ethical and the moral side of all this, some people I have seen saying that, it's in the spirit of the scheme that, you're not going to get a grant if there's another allowance available. Well, I think that's just a personal conclusion people are coming to, as opposed to what the actual scheme is saying. I drew a comparison in relation to, for example, capital allowances and claiming the writing down allowance every year, where you do have the choice to disclaim it because you want to use your personal allowance. It mightn't be a perfect example, but it is an example where taxpayers can organise their tax affairs in order to ensure they're getting the tax reliefs that are available to them. And based on the employment allowance and job retention scheme guidance as it stands, I honestly believe that option is there. I also fired a few messages out to various people, and a shout just, I hope he doesn't mind me saying, but Paul Barnes came back with a very good point this morning that someone made to him, which was that if the coronavirus pandemic had struck in September or October this year, and the government had rolled out the rules in the exact same way, most employers would probably have used most of, if not all, their employment allowance. So this wouldn't even be up for debate. The employment allowance would be used. People would now be claiming and getting a grant in relation to their national insurance contributions. So, you've got that aspect of it as well. Another aspect to me personally, I feel, is that we're trying to do the best for our clients, and a lot of our clients are genuinely struggling. And why should they be put in a worse position later in the year when the economy's probably not going to be in a brilliant position? Just because of a choice we're making now. I believe that the choice I'm making is helping my client now and in the future. They'll get a grant now, they'll have employment allowance in the future, and I believe I've got enough of an argument in defence to put up on their behalf. So I think that really covers everything that I wanted to say on my conclusions, on what I've seen on the legislation, on what I've seen on the guidance. And I hope that some, or hopefully the majority of people might agree with me, but if not, please do comment, please just send me messages. I'd be happy enough to look at anything that flies in the face of the conclusion that I have come to, and I'd love to do it sooner rather than later. And I'll drop some links to the guidance in the comments below. In all of this, we're just trying to do the right thing. If people need genuine help, then they should get it. One last point on all of this. The employment allowance is an allowance. It's a relief. It's going to save the client money under normal circumstances. Coronavirus Job Retention Scheme is a possibly once in a lifetime situation where the government are giving out grants. And there is also, to me, that differential. Why would they set up the scheme to give people grants for employers' national insurance contribution with no clear message around other reliefs available? There really, in my view, isn't. So to me, the grants, and the Chancellor has made reference to, they want to give people the funds that they need in order to secure the position of the employer, as well as obviously the staff involved as well. And to me, making sure that the business has less cost going forward, and we're not talking huge sums of money for most of my clients anyway, but I think everything like that is a bonus to them at this point in time, and anything that's a small help is often a very, very big help to maybe give them a wee bit of peace of mind and stuff going forward as well. So look, folks, that's everything. So I'm looking forward to seeing if anybody can point me in the right direction if I'm going the wrong direction, or send me some messages to say you agree, or that you disagree. And hopefully everyone gets their claims done today on whatever basis you're going to do it.